what is it that you pivoted over to then?
So yeah, I needed something a bit more capable. So when the T7s came out, I always had my eye on them. I was like, these look sick. And then getting into Dakar and all that, I was like, I love the whole rally tower setup. And I knew I was going to have one.
Right.
And I just kept seeing, I was like, that's going to be my next bike. And then I eventually did get one. And now I did this. I was doing wheelies and I injured my ligaments in my right hand. Big healing process. It's a big bike. It takes a little bit to get used to, but yeah.
That's the hard side of riding for,
exactly.
A living.
Yeah.
And quite often if I do off-road experiences and stuff like that, if there's anything that looks all sketchy, I'm just like, I'll probably go around this one, because I've got something tomorrow to shoot, and the next day, and the next day.
That's how it works, yeah.
But it is, I hope it mends up quickly and you can get back on the road. Are you still riding a little bit though?
I am, yeah. I took a Ducati Desert X out yesterday.
Yeah.
And rode around Lake Como.
Yeah, so a well-earned rest. Like I was saying earlier, we were doing every day at the show for pretty much 5 days, and I think it was a wise thing. That was my lowest day. I was out of energy. Only managed to get one video done, and I thought a ride up to Lake Como, on a good bike, a nice easy day is probably just what you need.
It was, and that was. I've only ridden in Europe twice. Once I was in Switzerland. It was my very first YouTube channel.
Right.
Just the action camera on the front. And then just hitting through the twisties on an old school BMW R80, and it was amazing. That was like 1970s, smelling the oil burning, and just really giving it some. And then this time on a Desert X, obviously a little bit more advanced in technology. And then riding around all Lake Como. I've never been there before, obviously. And it was an incredible experience.
It looks phenomenal up there. It is every bit as spectacular as you would expect. We did a ride around there last year when we went to the MV Agusta factory, myself and Tim, and I've never seen anything like it, really.
Epic mountains and everything, the ice caps. It was cold. Yeah. It was about 6-7 degrees.
It's beautiful buildings, little cafes and things like that.
People just wandering around, cows with the bells on.
Yeah.
That was so good.
You think that's a cliche, but it happens. How did the Desert X compare to Ténéré then?
So, the Desert X is definitely faster, probably a bit more athletic. You have all the different riding modes. You can adjust how much engine braking you want in all the different riding modes, suspension, not suspension, but traction control, ABS, all that sort of stuff. So you have all this tech, ride-by-wire, which is fun. It's cool, but I feel like for me, if I'm going to be doing some enduro stuff, I want something that's a lot more basic, and I'm happy with basic. So the T7 literally just has one button, ABS on and off, and that's it.
This is it, isn't it? I think that's what people love about it so much, is just the simplicity. Previously, the affordability, the price has gone up a bit, I think, as it's become more popular. And just, the sort of bare bones nature of it. And I always wonder, having ridden it plenty, I thought it was great off-road. But I always wonder if owners who ride maybe that one tier of bike above, 890 Adventure from KTM, the Tiger 900, the Desert X, I guess, or that might be another step above, whether that feels tempting to you. But I think maybe that's the thing as to why people are so passionate about the Ténéré, is because you still think, if I was going off-road, I'd still take my existing bike.
Exactly, that's right.
It's crazy. And so how did that transform the trips then, moving from the Street Scrambler to the Ténéré? Is it you feel like you can do more extreme riding, or
absolutely.
is it just more comfortable and easy?
Well, it definitely is comfortable. I've put you get the screen on at least. Yeah. So it's not a naked bike, so you're not fatigued as much.
Yeah.
Because for me, when you ride to your motor camping spot or whatever, that's when you relax. You go there, you relax, so it doesn't matter if you get fatigued with wind in your face. For me, it's a little bit different. When I get to my camping spot, that's when my work really starts. So I need to be on the game, and the T7 just helps me maintain my energy levels, really.
Yeah, totally.
And it is much more comfortable, can handle the weight a lot better. It's a lot safer in that aspect as well, because I think the brakes are fantastic. I mean, this is a 2018 Street Scrambler I'm talking about, so it's still got the Nissan brakes.
Not a strong point. Nah. Yeah, I remember that on mine as well, even on the road version. Sometimes you squeeze and
nothing's really happening there.
And it's not lightweight either.
No,
it's got a bit of momentum.
It does.
And you're still going.
Yeah, and they're it's heavier than the 2019. The 2019 is when they really upped everything. They made it lighter, more powerful, and with Brembo brakes.
Totally, that's the one to get.
It is the one to get. I should have just held out, man. Damn it.
But even still, it wouldn't touch, I don't think, the Ténéré in terms of its capability. Right. And I guess you've modded this bike as well, given that you've got to, carry some stuff and, be a bit self-sufficient when you're out there.
Yeah.
What sort of changes would you make to the Ténéré to make it kind of ideal for what you're doing?
Definitely crash bars. I've dropped this thing about, I reckon, over 50 times.
Yeah?
Yep. Mostly on the left-hand side, and the crash bars I'm using have saved it. No cracked plastics or anything.
Where are they from?
SRC Adventure Moto. So this is a brand in Queensland, but I'm not sure if they're worldwide or anything.
Right.
There's only the left-handed side's a bit pushed in because it's been just dropped down so many times. When I stacked it, I dropped it on the right-hand side. That wiped out the whole right-hand side, a bit of the exhaust. That's a downside of the T7 is the exhaust is low mounted. So if that gets pushed in, it rubs against the swing arm. If that happens, you have to replace the whole swing arm.
Yeah, I heard about this.
It's bad. And then even the bracket that holds the exhaust on, if that breaks off, it can be classed as a write-off.
Because it's welded.
It is. It's welded to the frame. Ridiculous.
Crash bars are essential then.
Crash bars, definitely. But then, you can just do all your little heated grips and stuff. I'm trying to make it look cool, so I've got the Kellerman indicators, get rid of the big things.
Yeah.
Indicators for me have to go. But the next big one now is the suspension. Because the front suspension is very soft. It definitely needs a bit of work to it.
There's the new extreme version, isn't there? There's the Ténéré World Raid, which gets the big tank and the long suspension, or now the Ténéré Extreme, which you don't have to have the big tank, you can just get the kind of suspension upgrade. Looks quite cool. I don't know though, it feels like also this year they launched the Explore Edition at EICMA, which has the lower suspension and luggage racks as standard and the quick shifter.
Oh, right.
And it's like, how many variants of Ténéré 700 do we really need?
I didn't even know it. I thought there was only the World Raid and that was it.
Nah. Well, maybe it's different for Oz because the Extreme launched in Europe first, and then now it's been launched for next year for the UK, for example. But I believe, Extreme. Oh, and there's a World Rally, and there's the Rally version as well. So I think there's across the globe, maybe 5-6 variants now.
Really?
And it just feels. Maybe it'd be nice if you could just get the suspension as an accessory when you buy the bike and just spec it up like that way, rather than lots of different packs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's an incredibly capable bike, and I remember riding both the standard bike and the World Raid off-road at the Adventure Centre, which it's hard to find good places to ride off-road in the UK. Like I say, it's so dense with people that it's a little bit tricky.
Sure.
And a lot of farmers and landowners are really trying to cut back on how much people can ride on their land. But it's great, obviously, to go to these adventure centres where you can just loop round and really get a feel for the bike, and you're not really concerned about being in the right place or where you're going. And it's a real good chance to back them. And the difference on the World Raid, even though it was slightly bigger with more fuel, the suspension transformed it. The stuff that they put on it is just, the quality is amazing. It's a massive step up. So wholeheartedly recommend that. And I think with that suspension, it was almost certainly, I think, the best adventure bike I've ridden in terms of just feeling confident off-road.
Okay.
I'm not, like I was saying earlier, I'm slightly risk-averse in those scenarios because I've got work to do in the following days and weeks.
Exactly, that's right. It's a livelihood.
But that's a bike that just had me throwing it up and down little climbs with rocks on them and stuff, and not really feeling intimidated, because it just felt so controlled and extra travel that it was very confidence inspiring.
Yeah.
Such a good bike.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely loved it.